M. Trudeau, entente avec Google. Est-ce qu'on oublie ça avec Meta et Facebook?
Ça fait des mois qu'on tient tête pour démontrer qu'on doit appuyer le journalisme local, le journalisme indépendant et le travail que font les médias dans notre démocratie. Ça n'a pas été facile. On a vu que Meta a complètement abdiqué à ses responsabilités en tant que géant du Web. Mais on est très content d'avoir pu arriver à une entente avec Google pour s'assurer que des journalistes, y compris des petits médias locaux, vont être appuyés pour des années à venir. On va continuer de faire ce travail. On sait que des pays à travers le monde sont en train de regarder ce qu'on a pu avoir comme entente avec Google, et c'est un modèle pour nos démocraties. I think it's very good news that after months of holding strong, of demonstrating that our commitment to local journalism, to strong independent journalists getting paid for their work, that Google has agreed to properly support journalists, including local journalism. This is a deal, an agreement that is going to resonate around the world as countries and democracies struggling with the same challenges that our media landscape in Canada is facing with are going to look at this, and we're very pleased we were there. Unfortunately, Meta continues to completely abdicate any responsibility towards democratic institutions and even stability, but we're going to continue to work positively in those areas. I also wanted to speak to the news coming out of the United States on India. From the month of August onwards, we have been working closely with our American counterparts, with partners around the world, on the very serious allegations that we shared in September that we believe India was involved, agents of the government of India were involved in the killing of a Canadian citizen on Canadian soil. The news coming out of the United States further underscores what we've been talking about from the very beginning, which is that India needs to take this seriously. The Indian government needs to work with us to ensure that we're getting to the bottom of this. This is not something that anyone can take lightly. Our responsibility is to keep Canadians safe, and that's what we're going to continue to do. Sur l'Inde, ça fait depuis le mois d'août qu'on travaille avec nos amis américains, avec des partenaires à travers le monde pour livrer nos préoccupations au gouvernement de l'Inde et pour essayer de travailler avec eux pour répondre à ces allégations sérieuses. J'ai partagé au mois de septembre avec les Canadiens à quel point c'est un enjeu sérieux, qu'on a des allégations crédibles que l'Inde a été impliquée dans la mort d'un Canadien en sol canadien. Ça démontre à quel point l'Inde doit travailler avec le Canada, doit prendre au sérieux ces allégations et faire des suites.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Irek Kusmierczyk. I'm the Member of Parliament for Windsor-Tecumseh. I'm also the Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Employment, Workforce Development, and Official Languages. And I wanted to start off by saying that the Stellantis battery plant in my hometown in Windsor is the single most important investment in the history of our community. That battery plant represents, for my community, represents the future, represents the hope, and it will provide permanent full-time jobs for 2,500 Canadians, local, from my community, building batteries for generations to come. In addition, there are also 2,300, there will be 2,300 local Canadian workers building the battery plant in Windsor. And so it's important. This is the single most important investment in the history of my community and our community. And so it's important that when we talk about it, that we talk about it in facts. In facts. And so I have here with me, I brought a friend here up to Ottawa, my good friend, the president of Unifor Local 444, Dave Cassidy, here to Ottawa. He's also the chair of the Unifor National Trades Council. And he came here to Ottawa from Windsor because he wanted to deliver a message. And so it is my absolute distinct honor and pleasure to introduce to you my friend, Dave Cassidy. Dave, over to you.
Thank you. Well, my message is pretty simple. This has turned into nothing but political hay. And the facts of the matter are, if we're not part of these investments on a global scale, then we're out of the game. Windsor used to be the automotive capital of Canada. And then we had some downturn in the economy, and everything seemed to stop in London. But I can tell you, we bargain these new investments. We continue to see as the battery electric vehicle goes and moves forward. Windsor's now the gateway to manufacturing in Canada. That's where manufacturing starts. And we have skilled trades that are on the job. And let me remind people, these South Koreans, that deal was done back by the Conservatives when they allowed the free trade agreement with South Korea. They're the ones who started this. It's nothing abnormal. I'm an electrician by trade. It's nothing abnormal when we build machinery here that we follow it, whether it's to Asia, whether it's to the United States, whether it's to Mexico, to make sure it's up and running. There's proprietary stuff with this equipment that we got to make sure is right, and we get it right. This number that they come out, it came from the chief of police in Windsor. It didn't come from Stellantis. It didn't come from LG. It didn't come from NextStar. There's discussions around it, what that looks like. But this, if you had a chance to see this facility and see how big this facility is, those numbers of 900 or whatever the numbers are they're real. They're real because they're going to be there to assist us. They don't talk about the 600 jobs that we have that's going to be in engineering alone, and where we have at the research and development that they're putting them jobs in there. They don't talk about the 2,500 members from my local, going to be my local once it's up and rolling, that are going to build these millions of batteries. And this has turned into nothing but political hay, and it's driving me crazy because we have more investment coming to Windsor. We have another company that's going to invest $3 billion with one company, and they have a decision if they're going to come to Windsor or they're going to go to Mexico. And when they see this going on, it's ridiculous. He calls it, I've talked to my MP down there as well. Irek's one of my MPs down there, and we have another one, Chris Lewis. He's silent on this. He's speaking up right now, supporting his leader, but the facts of the matter are, if it was up to the Conservative government, we would not have this investment in Windsor today. We would not have this investment because they look at it as corporate welfare instead of a return on investment for all the workers that's going to be there. So I hope people listen to this. I hope people pay attention. You know, this is nothing new. I'm a skilled trades. I've talked to the skilled trades next week for everyone's information, including the leader. The iron workers are installing lines in the modular plant, overseen by the South Koreans. And that's starting right next week. So, like I said, this is nothing new, and I just hope that people really pay attention to this.
What do you think of the Conservative leader saying that he's on the side of unions and workers, and he's trying to portray his party as being on the side of workers and unions?
Well, I don't know the man. I know a lot of people in politics, and I know, throughout the entire country, he's never picked up a phone or reached to me, and I can tell you the Conservative in my area, he's not been front and center on this issue. So to say that he's friends of labor, doing things like this is not friends of labor.
You're not concerned about the foreign workers taking jobs from Canadians, which seems to be the accusation that's being made?
Yeah, it's not about taking jobs. It's not about taking jobs. This is about the equipment that they have built in South Korea at the battery plant. They're coming to help install these equipment, whether it's an electrician, whether it's a millwright. These are workers that are going to be there temporary, assisting, and they're not staying. Some might stay, but that's a whole different animal. But as far as taking our jobs, absolutely not. Today on the job site, there's about 1,000 skilled trades putting the building together. And that's going to go to over 2,000 as we start installing the equipment into these facilities. This facility is large. I think they quoted it's 20 Rogers Centers, the size of 20 Rogers Centers. Just imagine that. It's a huge facility.
Okay. Yeah. Before we can do questions, I just wanted to also introduce my good friend Ryan Turnbull, who's the Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of ISED. Ryan.
Thanks, Irek. It's great to be here and with Dave and Irek Kusmierczyk, my colleague. Look, I think what we need to keep in mind is that Canada, we know, is number 3 in the OECD in terms of foreign direct investment. These projects are anchor once-in-a-generation type investments that have been brought into Canada. Our government is focused, right, on building the economy of the future. That includes a robust auto manufacturing industry that's going to rely on an EV battery manufacturing plant like the one we're here to talk about today. And that really equates to thousands of jobs local jobs for Canadians. It is kind of appalling and slightly shocking that the Conservatives don't seem to quite understand the way foreign direct investment works. I'm told that it's regular practice, it's standard practice for workers to go into another country with those investments to help set up plants in manufacturing. There's proprietary technology, there's knowledge transfer that has to happen, and that's what's happening in this case. But that's not taking away. And this is where the political hay that Dave was talking about really comes into play. This is not meant, we shouldn't be playing politics and jeopardizing future investment. What we know is that investors are confident in the Canadian economy, they're confident in Canadian workers, and that's why they voted with their dollars and with their feet. And we need that proprietary technology and that knowledge and the equipment in our plants in order to make them successful. So to me, we shouldn't be playing politics with this, and we're here to set the record straight.
Questions? Yeah, please.
Yeah, you're talking about political hay, and I understand that your jobs are secured, the 2,500. Everyone will welcome that. But, I mean, people like Sean Strickland, who represents, various trades, he's the union leader, and, Jason Rowe, who also represents local, I'm sure you know them, they're local union leaders. And they say it's insulting, frankly, that they think Koreans have to come and set up this equipment when they have huge amounts of experience doing this for factories like Tesla, for Stellantis themselves, and they want a lot of those jobs to go to Canadians.
So I can tell you, I just spoke to Jason on the way here, and Jason and I have a great relationship. And I don't know Sean. I don't know Sean, but I know he's the provincial, from the provincial office. And Jason's taken the lead out of the building trades in Windsor. And I just mentioned that next week they're starting to do the implementation because of the things you said. So they're paying attention to, we're not losing jobs. I want you to know, we are making sure that our job, we can't fulfill the obligation right now. We have people in Windsor that are from other parts of Canada we call them travelers. And they're in Windsor as travelers because we don't have enough in the ironworkers, millwrights, et cetera. But to take the jobs, this is not taking jobs. This is a temporary install, and they come back all the time. And by the way, it's going back a little bit. I mean, the building's going back just a little bit because they're in Stellantis, Jason's people, trying to get our plant up and running. So it's like this is such a big issue. I mean, we got to get this battery plant going. We need to make sure that all the theatrics and all the political stuff is gone. Like, they're asking for a national inquiry on what? What is the national inquiry on? We're going to spend taxpayer dollars for the politicians to debate and discuss about whether we should open the books and show exactly what we're doing. If we do not participate in the global market with tax dollars, then we're out of the game. We're out of the game in manufacturing, and that's the truth.
But, I mean, just to follow that up, I mean, putting the politics aside, shouldn't you be supporting fellow Canadian workers? I mean, they may not be in Unifor, but they're claiming that it would cost them 2.8 million hours, which is equivalent to $300 million. Because they're bringing in temporary foreign workers, and they are saying a few may be required, but not this many.
Yeah, and I don't know what that exact number is. I mean, I said in the opening, it was a tweet from a police chief of 1,600. That's where it started, at 1,600. What is that real number? Is it 900? Is it? Yeah,
that's what the next one says.
So is it 900 that's coming in to take the jobs, or are they going to be supportive? It's a big facility. We are going to make sure that our people are doing the jobs first, and I am going to continue to support the building trades as I have in the past.
Amen. So I just wanted to say one last thing I wanted to say really quickly. Who do you trust? Who do you trust? Do you trust Pierre Poilievre, who has been attacking labor, attacking workers his entire career on the Hill? Do you trust Pierre Poilievre, doesn't believe in climate change, doesn't believe in electric vehicles, doesn't believe in this big investment in Windsor? Or do you trust Dave Cassidy? Or do you trust Dave Cassidy, who's been there from the very beginning, who was there during the toughest times, the dark times in Windsor, when we had 11.2% unemployment under the Conservative government, when Pierre Poilievre was the Minister of Employment? Might as well have called him the Minister of Unemployment. I trust Dave. I stand with Dave. And that's why he's here today, to deliver that message. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I have a very brief comment to make, but again, it's quite concerning. We're seeing continued political games from the Conservatives when it comes to the Canada-Ukraine Free Trade Agreement. Even though yesterday it was passed at Trade Committee, it went by clause, it's going to be reported back in the House today. They are continuing to put forward delay tactics. They continue to vote against it. We are not going to fall to their political games, which is exactly what they continue to do right now. And we are going to be there and to stand in solidarity with the people of Ukraine. President Volodymyr Zelensky has asked us to pass and ratify this free trade agreement. There's only one party standing in the way right now, and that is the Conservative Party of Canada. There's only one party that has turned its back on Ukraine, and that is the Conservative Party of Canada. And I cannot understand why they continue to try to delay the acceptance, the passage, the ratification of the Canada-Ukraine Free Trade Agreement. There's only one person that benefits from that, and that's Mr. Putin. Thank you.